Welcome. In front of me is a Huawei P Smart from 2021, and today I will go over unboxing along with an overview of this phone. So popping it open, I will mention that it already was open because I did set it up. We have a couple things like this interesting little paper, which Huawei started to include ever since they lost access to Play Store. So we have basically a bunch of things that they think we might be interested as a substitute to Google. So what is it? Petal search, which basically is just a typical Google search that you have on your home screen. Then we have phone clone. This is actually not really a substitute. This is just a option for you to clone your phone and basically move everything from an old device to this one. This actually is a really nice option, and on top of that, it will actually allow you to move apps that aren't on the app gallery from Huawei. So for instance, if you have some kind of app that just the developer decided or didn't want to move their app to their specific store, then you can simply make a clone of it and move it from your older device to this one, as long as you have it on your older device, which is a really nice option here. And obviously we have the app gallery, which substitutes the Play Store because they don't have access to it. Now on the back we do have some kind of Huawei VIP service and whatever, some QR, whatever, I don't care really. Okay, let's move it to the side and then whip out the phone right here. So there's the phone. Now in here we got no casing, unfortunately. And basically all we got is a SIM eject tool and some paperwork. So I just, again, throw that to the side. I don't really care for that. Then we get a charger. So this is a weird 22.5 watt charger. Now it is a fast charger at least, so that's really nice. So I'm gonna set that over here. And then we get a cable. So this is a Type C to Type A, as you can see, cable. No, didn't want to actually take it all the way out, but whatever. Okay, so there we go. As you can see, Type C, Type A. So nice. And it looks like we also have something in here. So we do have earbuds. Now the device actually has a headphone jack. Okay. So the buds look like utter garbage. I just thought I would mention. So I wouldn't really expect much from them. I'm not going to be really testing them, but they are included if you wonder. So there we go. Now let's move to the actual phone. So right off the bat, you can see this display. Let me max out the brightness so it looks even better. So the display here, it's actually, for the price that the device comes in, I actually have to say that this is a really good display. It's a 6.67 inch 1080p by 2400 IPS display. It has a 84.3% screen to body ratio, so fairly minimal bezels, which you can obviously see right here. And comes with 395 pixels per inch. So again, that's because it is a full HD display. It is fairly dense and it will look really nice, honestly, because of that. Now, it's not going to be any kind of like high refresh rate display with any kind of OLED blacks and stuff like that, so don't expect it. But for the price that this device comes at, this display is really good, I would have to say. So yeah. Now moving to the back, we do have a quadruple camera setup. Now it looks like a quadruple camera setup. In reality, it's just a dual camera setup. Those two lenses below that, I would not use them. I would not recommend you to use them. They're basically garbage, trash there, just to make the phone look a little bit better, like it's better than it is, which is just a scummy way of trying to do to sell your phone, because some people will think that the more cameras it has, then photos must be good. But the two cameras that are here are just useless. Literally, you could tape them up and capture better photos with them not being taped up. So, going over the cameras, actually, we do have a main pixel shooter, which is a 48 megapixel wide sensor. Then we have an 8 megapixel ultra wide, and then the two useless ones are 2 times 2 megapixel depth and macro lenses. So that the macro and depth are just complete trash, and I'll most likely be able to show you that on the video here. So yeah. So let's actually pop out the camera and get straight to proving how bad those cameras are. So we have the normal photo right now mode, which will use, I believe, the 48 megapixel. No, never mind, this is the high res. So this is the 48 megapixel sensor at its full capability. So let me just capture a photo of a plant. There we go. Okay, so moving out of the high res, I'm gonna also capture a normal one. If my hand could not actually shake, that would be fantastic. There we go. What else we got here? Portrait, night, aperture, video, more. I'm looking, oh there we go, there's the super macro. Well, let's see how that one performs. Okay, so there we get the super macro, which, let's see. And there should be also an ultra wide, if I can find it. There we go, there's the wide sensor. So okay, so now that I captured a bunch of photos, let's look at them and see what we got. So this is going to be the wide sensor. Obviously this is terrible. Let me move it way closer to the camera and flip it. There we go. So what I would consider to be main subject here is this plant, and this plant looks like utter trash. It has no detail whatsoever. The charger is a little bit more in detail, but still it leaves a lot to be desired from a photo. Especially if you're planning to capture something at a further distance, it's just gonna become a little bit of a blurry mess of nothingness. So moving on to the next one, this is going to be the macro photo, and it is high resolution, but it loses detail. It is a little bit, I wouldn't say grainy, but it's not clear, especially when you zoom it in. It doesn't provide you with that macro detail that you look for in this kind of shot. And honestly, I do have to say one thing, it came out better than I would have expected it, but it's still bad. Now moving on to the next one, this is the normal one, just the typical photo mode, and we can zoom in. And honestly, I think this has a little bit more detail right now. It cannot be zoomed as far, but it, in my opinion, has a little bit more detail than the macro photo. You can see these kind of like weird strands of from the needles that are coming out. I don't know how to call this. This kind of like white fuzz, but you can see it like individually, which is something that wasn't really visible on the macro photo. Now if we move to the 48 megapixel like full capability, here it is. So again, the focus is somewhere right here. I don't know if it's visible on the camera, but again, it honestly looks almost the same one as the normal one, and that's not a bad thing. It's a good photo, I would say. It has detail, although the background is a little bit blown out for some reason. Now this was actually, maybe this could be the 48 megapixel full capability, but it's a little bit blurry. And yeah, that's about it. So obviously the two sensors that I said are, well, not necessarily the greatest. The macro is respectable, but you know what, let's see, where is my phone? Oh, there we go, found it. So I'm gonna put this away. I'm gonna get my phone and I'm gonna capture a actual macro photo. So let's get to it. It's my camera. So just if you're wondering, the phone that I'm using right here is a phone from like 2018, I think. It's the Mate 20 Pro, so it is already I would say an old phone, right? But let's see how it actually does with, for instance, macro. So let's look at this. Now that is an actual macro photo. Again, this phone doesn't boast some majestic 100 megapixel macro lens. This is just a actually done correctly flagship device from way back that does it way better than whatever they claim to do here. And this is the same brand. This is also Huawei, as you can see. So there's no reason for this to be included in this phone. Even though it is a cheap phone, I would have preferred to not see those lenses at all, rather than see them just in general. So yeah, we got okay one sensor, I would say, and actually that's about it. We only have the good 48 megapixel sensor, which can capture decent photos. Anything else I wouldn't use. It's basically useless. Now, that being said, let's move on further. So at the front we got just a 8 megapixel wide sensor, and I'm not going to be actually using it because I do have dual layer of protection on this phone. So there is this, let's try to show it. So you can see it right over here. There is the plastic one that comes pre-applied, which is a nice thing. And then there's also glass on it, and the glass kind of goes over the sensor. So this sensor won't probably capture as good of a photo because of that. So I'm not even going to be testing it due to this. But anyway, moving on to actual specifications of this phone, we do have a Kirin 710A, 128 built-in storage, comes with 4 gigabytes of RAM, and let's quickly see what we get for storage expandability. We got an actual SD card and also another as SIM tray, so you can put 2 different SIM cards on here and a dedicated SD card, and yeah, it's actually really nice here. So that's gonna be nice, meaning you can actually expand the storage further past the 128 gigabytes that the device comes with. So really nice here. Now moving on further, it has a 5000 milliampere battery, so this is basically a huge battery here. It's almost like a power bank rather than a phone, with a 22.5 watts fast charging, which they claim to charge your device to 46% in 30 minutes. Now I haven't really tested it, so I am uncertain how close that is to reality from their Tesla, but that's basically what they claim. And also we have a side-mounted fingerprint sensor right over here, which doubles as a power key. And one thing that I see here, which I need to check just to be sure, is the lack of NFC, which would be a real shame. Nope, it is NFC. So we do have NFC. Now, one thing that I actually don't know is how NFC will work on Huawei in terms of if you want to use it to pay for stuff in the store using like normally Google Pay or any kind of bank app, because I have no idea if bank apps are accessible on the app gallery, considering whatever the security problems that they have. So yeah, but it does come with NFC, which is nice. And apart from that, the device comes at, well, a fairly compelling price of around 150 around dollars, pounds, something like that. So it is honestly a really cheap device, and it packs a lot of features for the price. Now it might sound like I'm kind of bashing on this phone for the past 10 minutes, but honestly, there is some things that they could have skipped, like adding the 2 lenses and probably lower the price even further, making it even better deal, while keeping things like the really good display in here, Type-C charging port, headphone jack. Those are all decent parts of it. Fingerprint sensor on the side. But they could have even dropped it lower by not including this as an example. The three cameras that are basically useless, and just stick to the point that, you know, want to make a good budget device that actually functions and people can use it. No, still at $150, this is a really compelling price, and the device works well. I can't really say it doesn't really lag or anything. You can see that it is fairly snappy. It's not going to be a flagship snappy, but still, for $150, this has got to be probably one of the better phones in terms of performance that I've seen. But it has a glaring problem, which is the Play Store, or lack thereof a Play Store. So you're losing access to any kind of Play Store, any Google services, so Google Maps, Gmail, all that stuff is gone, and either it's substituted by something that Huawei has made, or by basically nothing. And also you're locked into their app gallery, which, assuming it has apps that you're looking for, well, then you're golden, but if it doesn't, you're kind of screwed. So it's a little bit of a trade-off. You do have a fairly compelling price tag, but you do have to deal with the lack of Google services. Assuming you rely on them more than some people, then this might be a complete bummer for you, and this might make the device unusable for you. But assuming you don't actually rely on their apps or Google services, then I would have to say this is a really good device. And yeah. So that being said, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.